And even more so, you need to understand where the business plan will be in 5 or 10 years when the company has grown up, and basically often in markets that doesn't exist. You need to understand technology, but you also need to understand that if you are able to build a technology, how easy is it to replicate for somebody that already know how to do the backward engineering? So what I'm trying to say is that what you're doing, what we are doing, is extremely difficult. This is a business of extremely fat tails. There is, if you look at the normal probability distribution, I would guess that the most likely outcome is that the company you invest in is bankrupt or off the market in 5 years. That's the nature of what we're doing here. Which brings me to my second point. This is difficult, and if you want to do it, you should definitely do it in Stockholm. This is probably the most interesting and most vibrant and most long-term capital market that we have in Europe. And I will try to give you the points about this. Sweden is known for its welfare state. But what is a part of that welfare state is also the capital market. Because here in Sweden, the pension system is equity-based. Everybody owns equity. If you compare it to the US, most people don't even have savings. And even more so, if they have long-term equity investments, they are very, very likely to be rich people. Any blue-collar people, blue-collar woman or man in Sweden will have equity in their ownership, and most likely also private savings. The ISK that I invented back in the days with some really brilliant people is actually today 4 million accounts, equal to 30% of GDP. There is nothing comparable to that in the US or in Europe. And this welfare capital market that we've created is therefore the biggest and broadest that we have in Europe. If you ask yourself, how many IPOs have we done in Sweden over the last 5 years? Well, it's actually the same amount as Germany, France, Italy, and Spain combined. So there's no question that this is a market that works. I know that startup people tend to be a little bit wokish in their thinking, so I have to excuse me for saying then the obvious. This depends on the tax system. The fact that we have a tax system where we've changed wealth tax and all of the other stuff is very, very important, because if you want to do something that is as difficult and risky as we are doing in the startup sector, you need to be able to actually gain some money out of it. And even more importantly, what is unique with our startup system in Sweden is that the founders have really strong incentives to stay here after the exit. And they have really strong incentives to continue to invest in the Swedish startup scene. Not only because it's fun, not only because they can get some return, because also the tax system both allows and drives them to stay in Sweden and continuing investing. And that's actually bringing me to the third point, which is the logical conclusion of the first 2 points, namely that we have an ecosystem. There is no startup company that I've been involved in where there are not some money coming out of Spotify, iZettle, Klarna or whatnot from previous investors. And this is not only capital. When you get somebody on board that has already done the journey to expand into the US or go to Germany or build a company that can grow into UK, you need that experience. You could get the same capital somewhere else, but you need the experience to be able to have that support, the connection, and that clout in your cap table. So the extremely interesting fact that the welfare state has built a strong capital market, the fact that we have a tax system that keeps founders in Sweden, and therefore we have this ecosystem where the startup scene is not only built on all the young people that are entering, but also on all the other people that has already been successful in building exits. My third point is about technology. I'm chairman of DANADS. We had our AI summit for the global media industry this week. It was a fantastic show up. We have Disney, Paramount, Washington Post, New York Times, Wall Street Journals, RTL, TV4, all of these big global media houses were in Stockholm this week from their tech side. And when you sit and listen to all of these companies and all the new technology that is coming, you can know one thing. The only thing that is certain about media industry is that storytelling will survive. We will still be reading news, we will still watch fantastic movies, we want to know the sports result. Everything is up in the air. Everything else will change. The vehicles, the platforms, the way that we consume media, the way that we build the media system is going to be radically different in 5 or 10 years. And obviously it's about AI, it's about Claude, it's about what Gemini can do, it's Code Whisper and whatnot. So when you live in this time of fundamental change, where no business plan is safe from change and disruption, you need to be in a good place. And Stockholm is that good place, both for the arguments that I argued before, but also because this is a society that allows you to fail and that will help you back up again if that happens. None of you will have to think about whether you do this investment and whether this will imply that your children will not go to university, because the welfare state creates a safety net that makes risk-taking a very, very logical thing. So in my world, Stockholm is the best place to do startups because of the taxes, because of the ecosystem, because of the welfare state, and because of the capital market. And the fact that you are doing this is something that is important for you, but it's equally important for our society. Because if you take a step back from all of this with geopolitics and all of this with interest rates and exchange rates and whatnot, if a society is going through a period of fundamental technological change, it is the ability to innovate that will bring us through that. But in combination with the fact that we can build a society with a decent degree of cohesion that makes that risk-taking a financial question rather than an existential question. So I would like from my side to thank all of you for being a part of this, and I would like to congratulate Michaela for being able to arrange this summit. And I hope we will be, I would be more happy than ever if we could meet again in these circumstances and we could clearly see that we're actually making progress with the Stockholm startup scene. So thank you very much and have a good weekend.